Unfortunately, this government hasn't learned. They've come back after 3 years of planning, and their solution is to cut education funding, $2.8 billion. This government has an agenda against young people, to rip opportunities from us, to gut our education system, to push us into casualised and uncertain workforces. It has never been a tougher time to be a student. Most of us live paycheck to paycheck. The cost of living, trying to pay rent and food is exorbitant, and our social security is failing. Unfortunately, we already know what this budget means for students and for young people. This is the first generation that's going to be priced out of the housing market. But instead of investing in our futures, the government has decided to push a bigger burden onto students, to give the corporate businesses a $50 billion tax break. Australia needs a government that will invest in social support to lift people up rather than push them further below the poverty line.
Now, from the Maritime Union's perspective, and I'm sure other unions, we really take our hat off to you young people. We congratulate you for what you're doing, because the trade union movement's struggle and the struggle of the university students and students as a whole, it's all interwoven. It's all relevant. If kids are not given the opportunity to educate themselves and advance themselves, we'll end up with a country of numbskulls, like up here. What these people are doing by putting these exorbitant fees on these kids, it's bastardry. What it's all about is this, is making sure that these kids that basically come from working class stock are not given the chance to educate and to lead this country. By putting the fees up and up and up, it makes it impossible for these young people to match strides with it. But that's all done cynically and for a purpose. That's to dumb down any idea that the working class can get himself into a position of education. So the elite, the ones that can afford these fees, they get the cue to the top universities or indeed to universities. And they dumb down working kids. They dumb down these kids, these future leaders of this country. And they're doing it because these kids are progressive. These kids are willing to stare these people down and say, we're not going to cop it. We're prepared to sit in. We're not going to cop your bastardising us. We want education and we're demanding it. And every trade union is here today and in the future, and communities need to stand by these brave, heroic kids and stand up to these parasites up the hill and tell them in no uncertain terms that get your hands off these students. They're entitled to get educated, because these kids, when they get educated, they're going to educate the kids coming on. So all power to these young students. You have shown the way. Thank you very much. Keep that fight up. And remember, our union at the trade union movement is with you all the way. Thank you.
The figures show that on average for lecturers they work about 51 hours a week. They're only paid for 37 and a half hours a week. So they're working 13 hours a week extra, unpaid, to keep the university ticking over.
Shame.
We also heard discussions about priorities, and because my background is tax, I always think about what priorities governments have. What is the target of these attacks on universities? Well, it's the staff through things like the slashing of $2.8 billion and students, obviously. It's staff through the cuts to the introduction of what's called an efficiency dividend, which I had to deal with when I was in the tax office, which basically means you have to do more with less. So you have to work more than 13 hours unpaid for the government, presumably. And I thought, well, 13 hours a week, maybe it's about time that staff stopped working for free for universities and put some real pressure on the universities and said, we'll just do 37 and a half hours a week.